All right, let's unpack this a bit. Imagine if every time it rained, your home actually generated more power, not less. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. It's a really transformative approach to renewable energy. We're talking about integrating rain-powered energy harvesting with standard solar panels.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It centers around something called triboelectric nanogenerators. You can call them
Hmm.
TENGs for short. Think of them as, well, tiny power plants that convert the kinetic energy of the motion of falling raindrops directly into electricity.
How does that even work?
It happens through what's called liquid-solid contact electrification. Basically, electrons jump from the raindrops to a special surface when they make contact.
Okay, and that's where it gets really interesting, right? I read that researchers, like those at Tsinghua University, have made some incredible strides here. They're even using biomimetic surfaces inspired by nature.
Exactly. With these incredibly precise nanoscale grooves, we're talking tiny. Some are even made using a technique like DVD imprinting. And these little grooves, they're optimized at just the right depth, around 350, 500 nanometers, to grab the maximum energy from each raindrop impact.
And the results are proving it works.
Oh, definitely. The results are pretty impressive. Recent advancements are showing energy conversion efficiency for this raindrop harvesting nearing 25%, almost a quarter.
25%. Wow.
Yeah. Now think about a place like Ohio. It gets a decent amount of rain, average 39 inches a year. You combine that potential with its pretty consistent solar energy, 4.0 to 4.5 kilowatt hours per square meter per day. These hybrid systems, theoretically, could boost a home's annual energy yield by, say, 18 to 22% compared to just solar panels alone.
So it's really about turning every storm, every cloudy, rainy day into another power source, making things more resilient.
Precisely. Strengthening our energy resilience, whatever the weather decides to do.
Okay, let's get into the weeds a little. Fundamentally, how does that charge separation happen? Raindrop hits the panel. Then what?
Right. So raindrops are usually slightly acidic, naturally. When they hit a water-repellent polymer surface, something common like PDMS, which is a type of silicone, there's an immediate charge separation. Electrons literally jump from the water to the polymer surface.
Right.
That creates an electrical charge right there.
And the texture matters here too.
Absolutely. As those now charged droplets slide off that specially textured surface, the changing contact area generates an alternating current in the electrodes underneath. What's really clever is how researchers are designing these TENGs. They're using bridge array configurations, sort of mimicking solar panel layouts, which can significantly boost the power output.
And these 10 layers go over the solar cells. Doesn't that block the sun?
That's the key. They're designed to be mostly transparent. These thin 10 membranes are layered right over standard high-efficiency solar cells, so they let most of the sunlight through to the solar cell underneath while adding that extra power derived from the rain. It's a dual function.
That sounds incredibly promising. But I'm guessing combining two very different ways of generating power isn't perfectly straightforward. What are some of the big challenges they're still working through?
You're absolutely right. It's not without hurdles. One challenge is what they call spectrum management. Basically, how do you optimize the surface so it's great at absorbing sunlight for the solar panel and really good at generating electricity from raindrops? It's a balancing act.
And durability must be a concern too, right? These things are sitting out in the rain and sun all day.
A huge concern. Environmental durability. They need special super hydrophobic coatings. Think of it like a high-tech, self-cleaning, water-repellent shield. This protects against UV damage from the sun and makes sure the TEN keeps working efficiently even after thousands and thousands of rain cycles.
Okay, and then there's the electricity itself. TENGs produce different kinds of power than solar panels, don't they?
Exactly. Power conditioning is key. Tenons typically generate high-voltage, low-current pulses, very different from the direct current solar panels produce. So you need advanced power converters, smart electronics, to efficiently transform that rain-generated electricity into a usable current that matches your home's needs or can be fed into the grid. Interestingly, some newer designs using curved Teflon layers are showing promise for enhancing both rain power generation and solar heat harvesting at the same time.
So with all these advancements, how does a place like Ohio really stack up as a real-world pest case? You mentioned the rain, but the climate overall.
Ohio is actually a great candidate. Its humid continental climate means it gets, anywhere from 180 to maybe 220 rain events per year. Lots of opportunities. Field tests, like some done in Cuyahoga County, showed really impressive synergy. They had arrays optimized for both rain and sun, west-facing ones, and they generated substantial amounts of electricity annually, with a very noticeable contribution coming specifically from the TENGs during rainy periods.
Any downsides in that climate?
Well, the one real wrinkle is freezing rain. If ice forms on the surface, it can temporarily reduce the TENG output unless you incorporate some kind of active heating element, which adds complexity and cost.
Right. Okay. So beyond the tech hurdles, there are always the economic and the regulatory realities. What are we looking at for real-world adoption? Is it affordable?
That's definitely where it gets more complex. A residential hybrid system, maybe it costs around $15,500 initially, could be closer to $11,500 after federal tax credits, potentially. But here's the thing. In places like Ohio, electricity prices are relatively low, maybe around 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Plus, you have some existing energy policies, like the HB6 subsidies for coal plants historically, which can artificially depress wholesale electricity prices. That stretches out the payback period.
How long are we talking?
It can be quite long, over 14 years in some scenarios, which is a significant investment horizon for a homeowner. And then you hit the regulatory side. There was a Cleveland Solar Co-op pilot project. Great example. They faced almost a year, like 9 months, of permitting delays.
Why? Just because it was new?
Pretty much, simply because the safety standards for TENGs aren't fully defined yet in the building codes and regulations. It's uncharted territory for regulators.
Wow, that's a big barrier. But despite those hurdles, that Cleveland Co-op case study still showed some pretty remarkable results, didn't it, in terms of resilience?
Absolutely. It was quite compelling. In December, their output was actually 31% higher than comparable conventional solar setups. And part of that boost came because snowmelt was activating the TENGs as it ran off the panels.
Interesting. So even melting snow can generate power.
Yes. And this higher winter output also meant they were less dependent on the grid during those peak winter demand times, which is a huge benefit.
And the potential applications go way beyond just homes, right?
Oh, much further. Imagine using this tech for soil-adaptive pumping systems in Ohio's huge agribusiness sector. Trials showed it could cut water use by something like 37%, significant savings. Or think about off-grid cold chain storage for farmers markets or remote areas. Keeping produce fresh for, say, 58 hours straight without needing constant sunlight or grid power, that's a game changer.
So it really feels like the challenge isn't just perfecting the technology itself, which seems well underway, but having I guess, the vision and the right framework to scale it up and integrate it properly.
That sums it up well. The tech is promising, but getting it deployed widely needs more than just good engineering.
Which brings us to a final thought, something for you listening to consider. What kinds of policies or maybe community-level innovations do you think are most crucial? What's needed to truly unlock the full potential of this rain-powered solar idea and make our communities genuinely energy resilient come rain or shine?